everyone. Welcome to the Life Happens podcast. I am your Grace. Hell, I can't talk today. I'm your host, Grace. And as you guys know, the Life Happens podcast is a podcast where we combine our spirituality with practical things to create a beautiful balance. Guys, I'm excited about today's topic because it's about discipline and punishment. And all of us on here have children. Am I correct? We all have kids, right? No? Can you hear me, Felicia? I think we lost Felicia. So today, guys, we have a guest. Hi, Tamika. Can you hear me? Hold on a second. Okay, let me see. Can you hear? You can't hear? Hold on. Can you hear now? That is odd. Hold on a second. Sorry, guys, we are having technical difficulties. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Girl, what was that? That was the devil. That was the devil.
Now I can hear. Now, there you go.
Okay, awesome. I know what that was very strange. So guys, we have a
Did she
guest.
logged out?
She logged out, but she's probably gonna log
back in. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And today our topic is discipline and versus punishment. And I'm sure you guys have seen a video going on circulating about a woman that disciplines her daughter on air. And Felicia and I felt that we really want to talk about it because it's something I know for me it was really triggering to see that. But before we get into the topic, girl, oh no, let me brag about Felicia for a moment, okay?
What?
Let me tell you, she vlogs and she's on TikTok. Can you please give the people your handle, honey? Because yours is so bomb. Like people need to follow you. So please, what is your handle?
It's called Mrs. MRS Felicia Life. So
Okay.
It's just Felicia Life, my life.
Okay, it is so cool. Like I want to
you.
that you went to in Waxahachie, honey. Because what was it? The coffee you had? It looked like a marshmallow on top. Was it a marshmallow?
It was called the campfire. It was a marshmallow. It's called the campfire, and it was a roasted marshmallow, and it had it had chocolate in it and some other things. I don't know them all offhand, but it was very good. And I actually went again today and had something different that was just as excellent. So yeah.
Really? So everything is good.
Oh yeah, go try it.
Okay.
The one I tried today will be in tomorrow's blog.
Okay, because that looked amazing. And then those pastries, I think you showed some of those pastries.
Yes, they were good. Yeah. Very different. And you had a birthday.
Yes, honey, 37 again. Again, 37 for the past 10 years. I guess I should be 38 now, right? But yeah. Yeah, I'm celebrating the month of December. Why? Because I can. Okay.
In a true fashion of a Sagittarius.
So I'm celebrating the month, a month celebration. And yesterday I had steak. I've been craving steak, and so I had this fat ass ribeye, y'all. And I had the sides, but I just ate the meat because that's all I wanted. It was really good. And then where did I go to? Saturday. No, Saturday was raining too hard. So I had to do something Sunday and then Wednesday. So I've been eating good. I ain't gonna lie. Good. I've been eating good. And my new purse came in today because I bought myself a present. I bought myself a Coach purse, honey. Yes. So
Yes. What color?
it's actually brown. It's like I wanted something dark. So I normally get black or I get something light. So I wanted a brown. I wanted a big purse, you know. I just wanted another Coach purse because I love Coach.
Sounds nice.
I love it. Hi, Ben. So Ben, hey. So do you want to get into the topic?
Yes, I do.
So
I do.
before I play the video, hi, Facebook user. Can you please tell us who you are, honey? Because we don't know who you are. So before I play the video, let me ask you something, Felicia. Do you believe that there is a difference between discipline and punishment? Or do you think they're one of the same? Would you say?
I think they can be, in some instances, be interchanged, but yeah, they are different. Discipline and punishment are different. I think they should go hand in hand. That's what I want to say. If you're gonna discipline by letting them know what they did and why it was wrong or what have you, and then the punishment is the act of taking things away or spanking, whatever, your punishment of choice, but it's an explanation of why you're getting punished. So I think they kind of go hand in hand, and sometimes you don't need the punishment. The discipline is enough, depending on the child too.
Hi, Mr. Stacy. What's your first name, Mr. Stacy? Forgive me, because I don't know your first name. I think, personally, there is a difference between discipline and punishment, and I agree with you. It is interchangeable. People often use it as the same thing, right? I believe they both teach kids to follow rules.
Right.
And it's so important, like you were saying, you said something so profound that we need to explain to our kids why we are punishing them, right? They need to know why. Even the Bible is very clear. Proverbs 13:24 says, whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them. The Bible says, beat your behind. Guess what I'm beat you behind, okay?
Yeah, I do have to give my husband this credit for this, but he told me a quote. I think if it wasn't yesterday, a couple days ago, that if you raise your kids, you can spoil your grandkids. But if you spoil your kids, you'll raise your grandkids. And I truly believe that we have to be parents first.
Okay, say that again, because that was good. Say it again, please.
I said, if you raise your kids, you can spoil your grandkids. If you spoil your kids, you'll raise your grandkids.
Okay.
Like, I can't take the credit, but he told me that he'd heard that quote, and I was like, wow, that's absolutely true. I've seen it in real life happen. It's really true.
Okay, so Ivan says discipline is what you do, so punishment isn't necessary. I agree to a point. I do. I think let's read the definition of punishment and I guess discipline. So I want to go back to what you said. You said that you need to explain to children why they're being punished. And I agree, because when I was growing up in the culture I grew up in, you would just start getting beat and no one told you why you were getting beat. So then you don't even know, like, what did I do wrong? And I don't know if I'm going to repeat it because you didn't tell me what I did.
Right.
Also, a lot of times we were punished with silence. Right? I'm just not going to talk to you. It is the worst when somebody, because my personality, I like to talk about, unless I'm really pissed off and I'm going to say things that I shouldn't, I will explain like, hey, I need a minute.
Right.
Mom is really angry and I don't like to discipline my kids when I'm angry. I'll say stuff, but like people might say, well, your kids are too big to beat. I don't beat them, but I will literally pop their butts.
And I think it's an age thing too.
It is.
At 2 years old, it's going to be more popping your hand. It's going to be more telling you, no. Let's go ahead and introduce our guest.
Okay, guys, we have Tamika. Tamika, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, please?
Hi, everyone. My name is Tamika Holland. I'm a mom of 2, and I work in the cybersecurity industry, and I am excited to be here my first time, so be gentle.
Okay.
It's cool. They'll be very gentle, won't you guys?
Yes.
Um,
Oh, but I was saying that when we were talking about the difference between discipline and punishment, and is punishment necessary? I think when you're dealing with a 2-year-old or a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, punishment is necessary, because me saying no, little Mary, don't touch the stove is usually not enough. It's like, to me, it's like a pop and no, little Mary, no, that's hot, no. You're explaining to them, but I think that it takes a little bit more action, because younger kids, they haven't, to me, developed that. Now, I don't believe in beating your kid. I believe that the punishment should be to get attention, not to hurt them, but to kind of get their attention, like, because I don't think have the understanding. But when they get 16, 17 and you still have a belt, I think you're doing too much. At a certain point, you're doing way too much, because that should have been done way back. And now if my kids get punishment, I don't have to explain, because they know the boundaries, they know the rules. And if they broke the rules, they already know what's coming. You know what you did.
Right.
So it's me at this point trying to understand why you did what you did. You know the rules and you broke the rules. So explain to me why,
So this is what I was reading earlier. It says punishment is a form of negative discipline. Is often used to get rid of or end a behavior. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I think is the why. Like I was sharing with Felicia earlier, if your son slaps his sister, right? Mm-hmm. And you say, exactly right. If you say, Bobby, you don't slap your sister, I'm taking your phone away. Okay. I'm punishing you. I took your phone away. You feel some type of way, but I'm not telling you what the consequences are, because one day you'll be out in the streets and you will slap a female because you're so comfortable slapping your sister, and you will end up where the man will teach you why you're not supposed to do that. Because my job as a parent, I didn't effectively explain things to you and show you, yes, I will punish you, but I'll also discipline you. And discipline can be positive, where it's not necessarily negative, but it's positive discipline. It becomes positive when you are explaining to your child, like, why am I doing this? And a lot of times, when I'm disciplining my kids, sometimes, let me tell you, I tried many things, because with my son, I often would give him 3 things that we're going to do, why we're doing it, and ask him to pick, okay, do you want to be grounded for 5 days versus 4 days? Now, obviously, he's going to choose the less amount of punishment, but I wanted him to feel like he had a choice. And that worked for a while. But then my son's the type of person that if you tell him a certain amount of time, if you tell him 10 days, he's going to do his time. I was like, I need you behind to burn. It wasn't working. And it says you're getting a whooping because you stole somebody's puppy.
Oh.
No, sometimes you rescue puppies and it may appear that you stole the puppy, but you rescued the puppy. You see what I'm saying?
I like that word, rescue.
Right.
Rescue. Ain't nobody trying to steal anything and go to hell. But I really was absolutely enjoying reading the difference between discipline and because I learned a lot of stuff, like, you just naturally do and not realize that you're already doing it. And, we all come from different cultures, so we raise our children differently.
Right.
Tamika, you mentioned that you had 2 children. How old are they?
My son's 22. My daughter just turned 20.
Oh, okay. So they're much older.
Yes, they're older. Yeah.
So, I can't wait. Have you guys watched that video that's been circling around about the woman that well, let me just play it. Are you guys ready? Because child. I think after we need to go and whoop it. Well, no, we're gonna call Bobby Ray and then
my kid thinks it's more important to be pretty than educated, more important to be a follow body than a leader, right? Okay. I'm not a parent who likes to use physical discipline. Come here, you gotta learn today, girl. No physical discipline. Mom, don't mom me, no. You had your warning, you had your chance. I told you to listen. I told you stop disobeying my rules. I told you being cute ain't shit if you have no education. I told you stop disobeying me. I told you to listen and do as you're supposed to. I told you to do good in school. I told you to do your daily routine, and you yet to even do any of it. And you thought you were disobeying me today and I was not coming to cut this hair off. You're sadly mistaken, because you thought being pretty was so much better than being educated or listening to your mom, right? Yes, this is what happens when you don't listen to your mom.
That is,
Horrible.
it's not the first time I watched it, but the first time I watched it, I was really triggered. I was really triggered by that. It hurt my soul.
Yes. I mean, my heart goes out to that young lady, because that's her mom, and she has no recourse. You know?
Like, you don't even know what to say, because you're like, did she just really? I mean, I could say so many.
That is something else. That is something else that she is taking out on her daughter. It's really sad.
Yeah,
And
I think
she will never, ever forget that. That daughter will never forget that.
Nope.
She won't. You know, when I watched that, I'm thinking of all the mother wounds that were just created from that.
Mm-hmm.
Which mother wounds affects all relationships, not just relationships between women, but it affects romantic relationships. It affects everything. And it's not to say that this child can't get help, you know, as she gets older. But like as a mother, now I have 2 daughters, right? And I have a son. And I'm just thinking, so Aaliyah gets into a fight at school, and I say, okay, when you come home, I'm cutting all your hair. Or not even tell her. I just cut all her hair off. Another thing that bothers me is that, you know how Black women, how we feel about our hair, right? Whether your hair is short, long, or whatever. Like,
that's horrific. And when I observed that, it's 2 things that I observed. The mother, what I think is jealousy. Let's start there. I do think there's a bit of jealousy there. I do believe that the mother thought she was disciplining her and punishing her at the same time, because the mother may look like she probably was a beautiful woman when she was young. And as she got older, she found out that being beautiful wasn't everything. And she doesn't want her daughter to go down that same path. And it's a warped type of way of thinking. But in her mind, that was like the proper discipline. And it's so much. And my heart goes out to that young lady, because she's not a bad little girl, because any other girl would have started windmilling on their mama. She just stood there and allowed her to do it. Because I'm just being serious. A girl that was truly had a disciplinary problem would have followed her mom at that time. So she was respectful enough, you know, and probably in shock when she just started cutting her hair out like that, you know.
God, I think it's shock.
Yeah. And I think that her response, and I'm just looking from the video itself, I think her response is relevant to how she's been treated before. So I don't think she didn't know what else to do. I think that the mother lacks discipline. You're very upset. You need to calm down before you even address any of that with the daughter. And so to me, it's borderline abuse. Because who does that to their kid? If I'm that upset, let me calm down. Go to your room. I can't talk to you right now. Calm down so that I can address it appropriately. And maybe discipline was necessary, but to me, that goes beyond discipline.
Yeah. I think everything you said, you guys, I agree with you. Felicia, you said she could have windmilled her mother.
Windmills, you know.
Yeah.
Could have tried to, hey, wait a minute, wait. You didn't see that. She just kind of stood there. And I don't know if it was shock or what. It was shock. I'm sure it was, but she didn't react violently, because most people would. I would have.
I've been taught. I mean, I suspect this is not the first time the mother has talked to her like that. This is not the first time discipline has gone beyond, quote unquote, the normal discipline. So I think she's been taught not to respond in a way that is the best way to calm things down, because the mother has no self-discipline to control herself when she's that upset.
And I think Tamika, because this child is used to being abused, and she knows that if she responds, reacts, speaks, looks a certain way, she's gonna go in even more, right? And I think I think you're right. So her response is keeping her safe. You know that, but you know what? It makes you want to fight a grown up. Like, let me read some comments. Keisha says, I have 3 adults, and my young children definitely got spankings, but never a whooping due to how I disciplined growing up. Sometimes seeing how they act now, I think I should have whooped their ass set more. Okay, girl. Hey, Kim.
Hey, Kim.
Yeah.
Keisha said, little girl was still cute without them funky braids, though. Their mom definitely has issues. I agree. That girl was a cute girl. Her mother's a beautiful woman.
Right.
But you know how you get some older woman where back in the day you were hoeing, right? And your time for hoeing is done now. Now now I'm not gonna say her daughter's gonna be a hoe, but I'm saying her daughter's coming up. Maybe she's a woman that doesn't have a husband and she's bringing men around her children and she's seeing how men are looking at her kid. Because hey, people do that, right?
Right.
And hate their daughters because their daughters are beautiful. And it's crazy because this child came from you. That's your seed. They're supposed to supersede you. So what? If she's not doing well in school or thinks she's too grown, have the conversation. Like you were saying to Mika. If you're pissed off, chill.
Yeah.
The worst time to spank your kids is when you're pissed off. It's the worst. I have a rule in my house where they know that I am always available. I'm your safe space. You can tell me anything. There's things I hear that are really hard to hear, right? About how they feel about something I did or said. And sometimes you don't want to hear that because you're like, oh God, now I'm going to explain. You feel like I'm the adult. I don't need to explain myself. But I'm thinking about, down the road when they have children, we have to do better so that they do better. Because when I think about me growing up, okay, I got to read this though, y'all. This woman. Wait a minute, Rob. Ain't nothing wrong with hoeing now, especially if you're an honest hoe. And all your hoes are honest. Hey, this is how I feel about hoeing, okay? I feel like it is not my vagina, and honey, you can do whatever you want to do with yours. I mean, hey.
That part, what works for you?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna do it around my kids though, personally.
Right.
Oh, I'm not hoeing around my kids.
Right.
I'm meeting everybody. They just. Mika says, this video makes me mad. I wholeheartedly believe in discipline, but I do not believe in disrespect. And children can be disrespected too. Girl, you better say that. This was disrespect, and the mom crossed the line due to her issues that she has. Now, y'all.
To me, it was borderline abuse and assault.
It was a mental abuse. Yeah, I agree. It was mental abuse.
But what if CPS saw that? Well, CPS ain't shit because they don't do anything. But no, for real though, CPS they are useless. Because they're overworked, they don't have enough people wanting to do their job because their job does not pay well. Okay, but I've lost my points, my track. But what if somebody saw that and reported it? So last night I was on TikTok live and we were talking about this, and a man said that he said that's her child. She can do whatever she wants to do with the child. And I said, you're absolutely right. But when you go live and you videotape that, you have now made it all our business. Because I wouldn't have been able to respond if you didn't put this publicly and you humiliated your daughter publicly, then I wouldn't have an opinion. You are absolutely correct. And this man was a teacher for 30 years. I was like, I'm so glad this mother didn't teach my kids. Because what do you mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, in a sense, he is right. That is her child. And I don't see what CPS could do by cutting hair because kids get haircuts all the time they don't like. So, I mean, it's like a trivial thing, but putting it on live, that's just, to me, that's just like when the dads get on there and they cut the little bald head on their son, look like George Jefferson, or they get on there and they do different stuff to their kid. I mean, because they do it to boys too. I've seen videos, well, look, this one guy cut his son hair out in the top, to look like literally bald here and then left the hair short here to look like George Jefferson. That's humiliating. Yeah. And then it's on social media. So now you've reached into a mental abuse, and that affects a person's mental health. And now he's got to go to school and listen to kids talk about how he looked like George Jefferson. And kids are not nice at all. They have no filter and they're not nice. So this little boy looked like he might have been in the 7th, 8th grade. So I already know. When he got to school, they came for him. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that's abuse. I really do think that's abuse. Social abuse.
Both are abuse. Even, I think, but isn't it interesting? Because it's just making me think about something. When that happens to the boy, there was not such of an uproar. right?
Yeah. Mm.
With this girl, there's a great uproar. I saw that video, but I was not triggered like I am triggered now. And I think it triggered me because it reminded me of certain things in my childhood that at the age that I am, at 37 plus 10, y'all, I am still working some things out that happened back.
Aren't we?
Yeah, I'm 40 plus 10. She 37 plus 10.
My point is, I'm still working those things out for things that people said to me, very close family members. Or I'll give an example. So I had really, really long hair. I had a lot of hair growing up. And a family member of mine, she had been stressed, so her hair fell out, right? And I remember we were standing in a bathroom because we went to like a Christmas party at her job, right? And she said, well, why do you have all that hair? And I was like, well, I'll give you half of it. And she said other things to me that made me feel ashamed that I had hair and that she didn't have hair. And she was a close woman to me, right? She said many things in my life that I still remember now. And in therapy, I'm working through those things. So that's why it was so triggering for me watching this child, because I'm thinking, Lord have mercy, this child has a lifetime of shit to uncover, because no telling what happened when she was smaller now, right?
Mm.
And sometimes you don't remember those things until a scent may remind, or you talking like me watching that video made me remember things that I'd forgotten about or I had suppressed at this age. And you're like, no one should go through that. But yes, we're gonna feel hurt and pain, all that crap. And I'm grateful that the child is the age that she is. And I hope that somebody will step in and intervene, because mama's out of control. And wait a minute, do you know that there's a second video? Do you see the second video? Where
No.
the mother got her arm around the kid, right? And she has this Snapchat filters on. And you know how filters it has these different glasses coming in or whatever. And she's saying, you're not traumatized, are you? You're not mad at me. We're friends. Girl, shut the front door. She ain't your friend. The child can't stand your ass. She's just sitting agreeing and laughing
Because
because
she has no choice.
Yeah.
She has no out. She has no choice. And here's the thing: if she thought it was okay to video that, imagine what we haven't seen.
For real. For
So,
real.
I mean, my heart goes out to the child. I mean, I'd like to see somebody step in. I can only imagine the stories they may would hear if the child ever got comfortable enough to really come clean with what she's been through.
You know,
Who even thinks that's okay to video?
No. And why I think it could be assault though, Felicia, is because the way she was using the scissors, like she was just pulling it. She could have stabbed the girl in the head. Had that girl moved or something, or try to get, she could have got cut and hurt. Lost her eye or something, because she was just on a roll, like to her scalp. Then the guy on TikTok was saying that video wasn't real, it was fake, that she was doing it for money purposes, that if you get so many views on so 30,000 views, you can get $10,000.
So were the braids fake?
I thought he was full of shit, to be honest, the guy.
Oh, okay. No, I was just wondering. I mean, because people do have fake braids in their hair, you know, but that style didn't look fake to me.
And
it looked
she
like it came out of her scalp and she braided it.
Yeah.
Right. So
it didn't look fake to me.
Not to me either. I was like, mm-mm. Let me read this comment from Keisha. Oh, Keisha's sister. CPS ain't shit. Them funky bastards. They came over to my house when my adults were smaller because of their bald-headed, humpback, two-faced, backwards, wig-wearing ass grandma on the daddy side, of course. Jesus.
Keisha, a mess.
Their poor baby. Some parents go way too far with the discipline. Unfortunately, we don't know the mother's past. She probably mistreated by her mother as well. See, I'm gonna say this.
Yeah, but that doesn't. That's no excuse to continue the cycle.
No, it doesn't.
So, and I just don't think that's discipline. That's abuse.
That is abuse. That is not discipline.
Abuse does not have to be physical.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's no excuse. We all have a past. We all have experienced hardship and endured some things. It does not mean that we continue the cycle. Okay. You know, I was saying with Felicia earlier, in my culture, when you joking with your kids, you say, oh, go to hell, sweetheart. Huh? So let me tell you what happened one day. My daughter, my oldest, was 2. And we were at their birthday party or something. And she didn't want to eat. And I said, oh, go to hell. And an older woman called me. She said, come here, baby. And she said, we don't say that over here. I said, go to hell? What's wrong with that? I said, that's how I was raised. My mother said that to me. And I'm not mad. I'm just teasing. And then she said, do you know what hell is? She broke that down to me. Okay. And that day when I was driving home, I was a very new Christian at that point, right? I was driving home and I said to the Lord, I said, Lord, help me to be the mother you want me to be. I don't want to mimic anybody. I don't want to look like anybody else. I want to be the mother you call me to be. That's what I said, because I realized in that moment, wait a minute. She's right. It is not okay. But somebody took me and said, hey, talk to you for a minute. But I am a teachable person anyway. I'm not going to get mad.
Right. You have to be effective at that as well.
The way she approached me, she didn't all, acting crazy. She came in a soft approach. So my spirit was open to receive from her because the way she came, and I didn't know this woman, but at least somebody did that for me to make me look and say, hey, wait a minute now. There are a lot of things that I have to stop. And then that's when I started really looking inside myself and saying, I can't be that kind of mother. And it wasn't easy.
It never is.
That was hard being a mother. Oh my God. Keisha said, of course, it's no excuse. And notice I put discipline in quotation marks. That heifer need her behind whooped. No doubt about it. Let's all pause it out and go and find her, y'all. Now, listen. I can't do that, sis. Somebody can put sugar in a tank or something. Somebody can be petty or something. Oh, by the way, the woman added that she was a hairstylist. So she's going to fix her baby's hair.
I don't care.
It doesn't negate the shame associated with the video and the feeling of helplessness that child felt in that moment.
The trauma, I'm just going to tell you, I know about hair trauma and the trauma that comes with that. It's more than most people even realize. There is a lot of trauma and hurt and pain in that. And to be publicly humiliated while doing it, on top of it already being a traumatic thing, her mental health is in danger with that, especially her relationship with her mother, and then it's like, okay, what is her parenting skills going to look like? How is she going to raise her beautiful daughter or son or whoever?
I will say this. If she continues the way she's going, her ass is going to end up in an old age home because the baby not going to take care of her or even help to take care of her. Because why? Because she's probably going to be freaking old and an asshole at that. Because if you can't see yourself, the worst kind of person is one that doesn't see themselves. That is the most frustrating thing. And with the parents, it's not like you can discard them because that's your mama or your daddy.
It's a bunch of people in nursing homes that nobody comes to see. It's a bunch of them, and they have kids. Because I often wonder, because I think I was talking to Tamika, but I know I was talking to my husband about it, that Black men 50 to 60-year-old are now populating, and is a large population of the old folks' home and of nursing homes. Not that they can't take care of themselves, but they've lived their life they can't take care of themselves. They can live with somebody, but they can't cook and clean and do that. They need assistance. So they're living in these assisted living establishments with 6 kids, with 7 kids. You as a player, and you have 7 kids out there that don't even know you. They don't even, they don't even think about you. You have 4 or 5 kids out there that don't want nothing to do with you. So it's becoming a thing. You know what I mean? So I do see how people are in nursing homes that don't do the work with their kids while they're young, and that's why they're there.
No, I see a lot of that because I'm in home health, right? And we have patients that are old crying for their babies. Well, not babies, crying for their kids.
You reap the seeds you plant.
Mm-hmm. You reap what you sow.
We have a 90-year-old patient, and the man can talk because probably got anyone to talk to, but he cries for his daughter. Sent the daughter money to pay for her wedding, and the child did not invite him to the wedding. But he paid the $50,000. Now these people have had money, okay? They have money, but he doesn't have it to give to anybody. Well, he gave it to her, but she don't have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
When you were younger, you were an ass,
right? Or you weren't there, or you weren't trying to be a part of my life,
If I think that this relationship between mother and daughter can be salvaged, honestly, I think that it could move on to being healthy if the mother does the work, and while she's doing the work, her daughter's in therapy as well. I think it can, because you can fix anything. Can be fixed if it is life in your body, there's hope.
Right.
But just by watching those 2 videos, I'm not sure if she's ready to have the hard conversations. I think she will be
I
really,
think secondary video. Do you have
I
it?
don't have I couldn't find it. I think that she I saw pride. I don't know if you saw that. I saw some pride in the mother. I saw just dysfunction, really. And do you guys hear accents? Was that me? I can't pinpoint her accents. I don't know if she's Latina or from the Caribbean, but some of the words she said, I heard her accents. And so when I think about that culture,
Yes.
that's not. It's probably normal to them.
Wow.
Just because I think about how we were reprimanded as kids. And I often tell this to my kids too, like when we were growing up, if my mom was sitting with you guys, right, and I came in and I needed something, if I walked into the room and she did not turn and look to me, I could not speak. So I had to wait until I was addressed to then say what I needed. If I spoke before she turned to look at me or asked me, what do you need, I got my ass beat. And that's, I mean, damn, you could really be needing something. Like it could be life or death, But that's how we were trained. And we were trained, you don't speak up against adults. So adults could do whatever the hell they want to do to you, and you don't say anything. Because your parents are automatically going to take the adult side. It doesn't matter what they do. So children were raped, molested, abused. You just knew you couldn't tell. Because they're not going to tell my side. They're not going to take my part. They're going to take their part. So you keep secrets. You learn to keep secrets. You learn to be quiet. You try to be invisible. You don't want to bring attention to yourself. That's at home now. But then when you're out in school, you're fighting everybody. Anybody can get it. You're either fighting because you're angry, or you're promiscuous, or you're the opposite. It's just, there's so many things that this anger inside of you can cause you to do from somebody just beating you or embarrassing you or something,
Right. Because my experience is much different growing up. My mom used to say, if you have a problem with an adult, come to me and I'll handle it for you. So it was like, don't you go out there being disrespectful to an adult now, let her handle it. Not to sit there and get abused, but if an adult is going back and forth, why are you going back and forth with this adult? You come get me, and I will handle it. My mom, and that's the one thing I can say, she did believe me. If I went and told her something, that she's like, don't have me out here looking like a fool. Now you tell me exactly what happened, and she would listen to it. And if I was wrong, she would explain to me what part I played into being wrong. And if the adult was wrong, I have seen my mama go after an adult on my behalf. So I think that it's like, we need to learn how to protect our kids and not just, take the word of what somebody else tells them. Somebody tells me, oh, your kid did this. Okay, let me talk to him. What's going on? You tell me. Now, don't lie to me. You have to establish those relationships with your kids. But how can you do it if you don't listen to them?
Yeah, that's true. Let me read this comment. Keisha says, I told my oldest daughter recently, go to hell. But that heifer tested my gangster. My daddy called and asked my sisters and I to be a bridesmaid at his vow renewal with his wife. She's the queen of dysfunction because her children are off. She likes to hit with her fist. Oh, wow. Even if you're an adult. Felicia is definitely someone I would windmill on. So you're right.
Yeah.
Yo, growing up, I was angry and I used my words and my fists. Okay. I was very angry. And so, but I found that my words were more powerful than my fists because I would see the person visibly facial expression change. And I would think, wow, I am powerful. But because I felt powerless at home. Right. So when I think of the mother, I think of that now she has somebody that she can rule over because that's her kid. So it establishes the order she thinks because she hasn't dealt with that mental thing. Right. I mean, personally, I wouldn't have known about therapy. I don't know if that's even a true statement if I'd stayed in South Africa because I had the freedom to explore who I really was going to become and who I am in the States. I had that freedom to do that. But I was in an environment where you were told what to do and you're just obedient and you do it.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I got into trouble because I was vocal. Because I could like take things to a point, and then once I reach a certain point, baby, let me tell you what, I'm explode. Don't give a damn who you are. I'll fight anybody. Oh, my thing was I'll write letters. So one day I wrote a letter to my mama, and I called her Dear Mrs. Wood. Okay, and my dumb ass did not take the letter with me to school, y'all. They found it on my bed, and she beat my ass. Beat my ass, y'all.
I bet you was something else as a child, Robbie.
Yeah, I was a little bit. But I had good grades, though. Didn't it count for something? Because
Yeah.
I knew if I want to get out of this bullshit, baby, you have to be educated.
Well, and I'm sure your parents didn't accept lesser grades either.
Oh, no.
So
No, they did not.
what was the choice in that, right?
There was no choice. Like you know, and I grew up in an Islamic environment where my mother is a religious leader in our community, and so we had to be a certain way. When we went somewhere, they recognized who our parents were, so you couldn't do shit.
Yeah, because you were a representation of them.
Right.
Girl, one day I was at the mosque and I went to the bathroom during prayer time, which you're not supposed to do that. But I was damn tired of praying because we prayed all the time. So I got to the bathroom and a woman comes in. She's like, "Are you Mrs. Wood's daughter?" And I was like, "No, I'm Mrs. Wood's son." And I just, because yes, we all know who I am. Shit. No. Time I got home, my mama knew what happened.
Oh, yeah.
Respectful to Mrs. So and so. But I mean, yes, I'm in the woman's bathroom, am I not? Do I look like a Wood? Yes, I do. So whose child am I? That's what I was thinking. You know, but we just didn't have that expression. And I think it's so important. I don't know, you know, all three of us are different personalities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And raising men and women are two different things.
Oh, yeah.
So, what is the hardest thing about raising females and males? What would you say is the most difficult thing?
For me, the males, I have to think more about his life. When I'm telling him, look, man, when you go in the store, this is not even discipline. It's like when you go in the store, take that hoodie off. You know, I know you're not going to do anything, but I have to raise him to save his life at some point. Now he's driving and I'm telling him, look, if you get pulled over, I have to have those conversations. My husband has those conversations with him as well, but it's those conversations that I have to have and that I have to continue to tell him it's not right, but that's the way that it is. I don't agree with the way that it is, but that's how it is. You are a young Black man and you're they consider you guilty until proven innocent. So it's that different mindset. As with my girls, I have a whole different mindset with them because their life is different, you know. And even my daughter was like, Mom, remember, you know, and I tell her, always remember, don't be the angry Black woman at work. And, you know, and she's experienced because she's had the opportunity to work with, you know, African-American women. And she says, now I know what you're talking about. Now I see what you were talking about. It's like when we get upset, we're angry. When somebody else gets upset of a different color, they're a go-getter. They want to get things done.
Don't
passionate, right?
Passionate. Yeah, you go to jail because those tears send people to jail.
Right. So yeah, I do see the difference in how I raise them and things that I tell them. So yeah, I think, and boys are so much harder because they don't listen. They don't listen.
It's like white noise. Like hear me. It's white. Oh my gosh, yeah. What about you, Tamika?
I would agree with her when it comes to raising boys. That's quite difficult. I think because of my childhood, I give my daughter a lot more grace. I had no voice as a child. And so I'm constantly asking her how she feels and teaching her to be assertive. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And so just be mindful of that. But you need to be able to voice whatever you feel, whatever you want. If you, you know, and so for me, with raising her, it was a matter of teaching her how to be herself and still get the results she wants in a manner that is not aggressive Black woman. So I think, and that's a result, like everyone else, of my childhood. You know, I didn't have a voice, so it was important for me to teach her how to have one, even as a young adult.
That's good.
I agree with Tamika 100%. And if you think about it, and I've heard somebody else say it, so I'm not going to take the credit for it. Black people, we have to change who we are depending on our situations. There's work Felicia, then there's fun Felicia, that with my friends. We literally have to put on a different face to go to work. Cindy is Cindy at work, is Cindy at home, is Cindy at wherever she is. But Felicia, you got work Felicia, and you got home Fifi. It's just two different people. They don't run in the same circles.
And you know what's so interesting, Felicia? Kids pick up on that very early.
Yeah,
when
they do.
On a call for work, they pick that up
versus
regular mom at home.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
they know that. That is so true. You said something, Tamika. You had no voice as a child. Wow. Same. And
yeah, I mean, when you were speaking about your childhood, it resonated.
Yeah. So what you said, I was like, girl, yeah, we could probably trade stories. So I understand. And then for me, I make sure my kids know they have a voice, and their voice is important. And I want to listen to everything you got to say. And like you said, Felicia, when people tell me my kids did something, I have a conversation with them. If they come and tell me something about an adult, they know I got your back, your front, your sides. I will fight anybody, because what I try to do in my house is create a safe environment and an environment where you are able to speak. Like, I want to know what's on your heart. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know how you're feeling, why you feel the way you feel. I want you to be able to come to me and say, hey, Mom, when you said that, you really hurt my feelings. And we can not me getting defensive and saying, oh, well, it's because you did such and such. Sometimes when you hurt somebody, you don't need to validate why or disagree. Just shut the f up and just listen. If my mother said to me, hey, Robbie, I'm so sorry that I did this, I would have healed freaking years ago. All I needed was sorry. But when you're not going to get sorry, you still got to heal. You just find ways around that. Because at the end of the day, if I stop wanting to get better because she did not say she's sorry, I have given her power completely.
Yeah, and one of the things I try to teach my daughter is you don't need to validate your feelings. So if I said something that hurt you, perhaps I said it the wrong way. That was not my intent, but intent doesn't factor into how it makes you feel. So I could have the best intention and still make you feel bad. And you don't need validation from me to say that you felt bad. What you felt is what you felt, and that's validation enough.
That's right. That's right.
And it's amazing. Go ahead, Tamika. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. I mean, I think all of that stems from my childhood. What I didn't get or what I felt I didn't have. I'm trying to enable her to have it.
Right.
Yeah. And it's funny that both of you said that, because my mom had a discussion with me. My mom, she's what they call a lap baby. Like, she was next to the baby. Like, her and my aunt are like a year apart, because it's my mom and then my aunt. But my other aunties were all older. And my mom said she never had a voice. Nobody ever listened to her. So that, being raised in that situation and hearing you ladies say that, and then she giving me a voice, that, it really, that resonates with me, because she said she always felt nobody listened to her. She was the youngest child, they really didn't pay her any attention, and she would always say that nobody ever believed her, nobody listened, whereas in when I grew up, she changed that behavior and would listen and believe me. Because she said something to me, most little kids don't lie.
No.
Most little kids don't lie about serious situations.
We teach them to lie.
Yeah.
Based on how we respond.
Yeah.
Right. Because we don't want to be embarrassed that our kid said something about somebody else or an adult, or we feel ashamed or something like that. I'm like, honey, you can tell me anything. Let me read some comments. Keisha says, all my children have horrible attitudes. I have to remind them repeatedly to think before they speak. Now, Keisha, you are their mama, though. So they feel like their opinions are irrelevant in every situation. And I have to remind them that shut the hell up is sometimes necessary. I had to make myself stop worrying about them going to jail or getting beaten in the streets. Girl.
Well, like I used to tell my daughter, every thought that comes in your head should not come out your mouth. That's why God gave you a filter.
Mm-hmm.
So just because it comes in your head doesn't mean that it should be spoken out loud.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things I told my daughter was, she said she feels like, she was telling me her feelings about some of the rules that we had in our house. And I was like, oh, okay. I understand that you feel that way. I didn't invalidate her feelings, but I let her know that your feelings do not dictate the rules. The rules are the rules. You can feel that way. I mean, it's okay that you feel that way, but the rules are the rules. They're not changing because of your feelings, you know?
Right.
And I've also heard her say, you never say you're wrong. I said, no, I never say I'm wrong when you feel like I should say I'm wrong, but I am wrong. I know I don't know everything. And I'll tell my kids, this is my first time being a mama. So yeah, right. I'm going to mess up. You know, this is my first time. There's no rule book out there. There's nothing to tell me. So there are going to be things that I do wrong that I felt like I could probably have done better or addressed differently. But some, you know, you got to know your kids too. This is my little manipulative kid. She likes to manipulate things in her favor, and she's very smart, but you know, I'm smarter. I raised her. So, right. But she will always say, you never say you're wrong. Okay. Okay. Tell me what you feel like I was wrong about. And it's always something to benefit her. Right. I feel like you should let me get a second hold of my ear, but you should let me do it because it's my body. Well, that's my rule. I understand that's your body. I understand, you know, but that's my rule. And rules don't change because, and that, so that doesn't make me wrong. You know what I mean? Because that's my rule. My phone.
Okay, let me read some. She just is a little late. What's good, queens?
Hey.
Keisha says, Tamika and Robbie, I was brought up the same way, voiceless. I never got the apology I was seeking or felt was needed either. My mom took her hatred out of our father out on me. See, that's it.
Wow. And here's the thing about that. What I've realized, it shapes who you are. So, you know, whereas you said that you were more aggressive outside the home because you had no control in the home. So you're trying to control those situations outside, right? Mm-hmm. But I think it also stifles the personality of yourself.
Exactly.
And so you don't get to that too much later in life. And so that allowing kids to be free and be who they are. Yes, we're supposed to guide them, but you have to allow them to have whatever personality they're going to have. And I think in the way we were raised, we didn't have that as an option. No. So I try to make sure my kids do have that.
Mm-hmm. Be themselves wholeheartedly, because God didn't make a mistake with the personality he gave us. Yes, we have situations that we've been in and experiences, and it shapes who we are, but that's not really who we are. Because if you think about a lot of us, and I realized this a while ago, that my personality was shaped around my trauma. And that wasn't really who I was, right? And when I started recently dealing with the mother wounds, like this man told me, I had a conversation with him. His name is Dr. Rod. I told him I felt bad that because I felt the way I felt about my mother. And he said, honor the office. And I was like, what? Honor the office. That's your mother. God used her body to bring you into this earth realm. She raised you up. Honor that. It's never going to be the mother and daughter relationship that I was looking for, that I wanted, that I see other people have. I'm never going to have that because there's a lot of missing things she didn't do, foundational things that she was lacking, but I'm never going to feel that way towards her. But I don't have to disrespect her.
No.
It says honor your mother and father. I can honor that because I honor the office of a mother, if that makes sense. And then took that guilt completely away. And then I started looking at relationships in my life about different people that I may not necessarily feel the same about, or maybe they did something or I did something to them. And then I started just having this list about, oh, okay. And then I don't have to block you.
Right.
Just honor what that role that you play. And that's okay. And that's how I was able to manage it and not keep all this shit. Because we carry, Let me read some more comments. Trying to riz us, okay? You three are all some beautiful Black sisters.
Thank you.
Thank you, CJ. Keisha says, I told my daughter, funk your feelings. You make your own rules when you get your own place. There you go. Go. My 11-year-old said, Mama, I want some dreads. Dreads? I said, hold a minute. Hold up. When you are 18, sis, you can do whatever the hell you want to do with your hair. But right now, you're not doing that.
Right.
Because I'm not taking, no, because you're lazy to do your hair. I don't do hair, by the way. It says, I feel like I'm the G I am today because of my upbringing. My father was a pastor, still is in his mind. And my mom didn't want the preacher's wife role. I suffered as a child. But you know what? Talking about that, a lot of preachers' kids suffer. And the reason why they suffer, and I learned this in ministry with my own children, is because we focus on everybody else we got to help, but not the first ministry, which is your children. No, oh, they'll be okay because they live with me. And then they turn out to be hoodlums because you're asked to pour into them like you needed to. But you worry about everybody else because you don't want them to say, well, you didn't help them. You have to ask yourself, what did God tell you? This is my first ministry. And then I can help everybody else. But, you know, I see that a lot.
Yeah.
I see that a lot, and it's freaking irritating.
Well, you know, we have those words now that everybody is self-diagnosing, and they're saying these little catchphrases. I have this trauma. What is it? What's another one that they use all the time? What's that one they use all the time, babe? Oh, you're projecting on me, and you know, what did you say? You're gaslighting me. My husband know about. You're gaslighting. You're projecting on me, and even though my mom was really good about letting me have a voice, it was always a distinct line between respect and disrespect. Right. And what her boundaries were for respect and what they were for disrespect. And I think that the kids now don't have that same boundary that we had growing up. I wouldn't say it was all bad, but that kind of kept us in check with timing of how to say, and like Tamika was like, of how to deliver, when to say it, what to say, and how to say. Whereas to now, I hear young ladies, I'm talking about 20s, talking about, I wish my fat bitch Auntie would say something to me. I'll cuss her out at the Thanksgiving dinner. Like, really? You know, she's disrespect me, so I'm gonna disrespect her, you know, because it was like they were talking about one of those things where like your auntie would say you didn't got big or whatever, and they said, well, I'm gonna cuss her out, I'm gonna do this.
Oh, I remember that. I remember seeing some memes of it.
Right. And it's like, okay, where is the boundary? Like, I'm not saying you should be disrespected, but what happens to if I feel like I'm disrespected, then it's time for me to leave. Why would I get myself out of character or get upset or get angry? Well, it's time for me to move around.
And I think you have to, first of all, I think just as adults, you know, once we become parents and stuff, we recognize that our parents are not perfect. There are people. You do better when you know better.
Right.
Just what it is. And I think that also we have to remember what's my stuff. I mean, I try to teach my daughter that every time. When you having this issue, what is your stuff that you need to work on and you can control, and what's their stuff? Because you can't fix their stuff. You can only fix your stuff.
That's right.
So exactly. That's key to understanding. Like the auntie, if the auntie is talking like that to you, you can't fix that for her. The response is not to respond like that.
Right.
Clearly. So you got to let her have that. Auntie, I love you, and go on.
Right.
You can't make her be respectful.
Yeah, but that sounds like there's so much dysfunction that I don't think the niece, no matter what you say, at that point, you just need to walk away.
Right.
I'll have so many things that we're working on. I can barely keep up with my own things. I don't need to add anybody else's to my plate. So it's important for me to understand what's mine and what's theirs.
That's just like, I think, Tamika, did you say this? That's just like me drinking the poison and expecting you to die. Who said that?
Not me. That's a good analogy.
Like, I'm going to drink the poison, but I'm waiting on you to die. You know, no, fix your own self. Let them drink their own poison. You know, work on you. I agree, Tamika.
This is a good comment. CJ says, I can speak on this. People in my generation aren't going for the disrespect no more. I feel like my generation don't really care about the respect because some of us were disrespected as children. Wow. And I feel like once we separate from our parents, we see how they weren't perfect. And when they continue with something we don't agree with, now we can finally speak on it. I understand where you're coming from. Absolutely understand. Because again, growing up with no voice, if my mother did something in the past, I wouldn't say anything. But now, baby, I'm not disrespectful.
Exactly.
tell you exactly how I feel. One of the things I always tell my mother, Mom, I love and accept you just as you are. And she was like, well, what do you mean? I love and accept you just as you are, and I hope you can love and accept me just as I am.
Mm-hmm.
And no, she can't. And I know she can't. That's not even in her. Can't. I know, but I say the same thing, because what you're not going to do is treat me like when I was a teenager. See, because now I'm an adult. I
Right.
choose to have a relationship with you or not. And I had told her plainly, the decisions I made for my life and my children, you can agree or not agree. And you can accept me or not accept me. That is your prerogative.
Right.
But I'm not disrespectful. But I will check your ass quick though.
But that's how it's done. You know, Rabia, if you want to be treated like an adult, handle your situation like an adult.
Mhm.
All this, you fat bitch, this, that, whatever.
Well,
That's not being an adult, you know.
and I think some of those responses are reflective of the relationship.
Very much.
Tantrum. You throw a tantrum because you've seen your mama throw a tantrum.
Right.
I always feel parents, we tell our children, control your emotions, yet we don't control our emotions. We throw tantrums all the damn time.
Exactly.
Let me tell you, a couple of weeks ago, my daughter, the youngest one, she wanted to talk about how somebody at school was saying some things to her. Now, I'm the type of parent, super positive. You say something negative, baby, I'm going to have positive affirmation. But something in my spirit says, shut the hell up. Just listen. Because I don't like them to talk negative. Like, don't talk about yourself like that. Y'all, she cried. She felt how she felt. She expressed herself. It was so hard for me to listen to my daughter telling me that she actually believed those things about herself. Like, I'm like, how can you think? How do you think that you're ugly? Why would you say that you're not anything? You're not going to amount to anything. Who told you that? Why? And I'm having all these things in my mind, right? Now the child's in middle school. You know, middle school is awful, right? Oh my God.
Yeah.
But the Holy Spirit told me to be quiet. I listened. I let her feel her feelings. We went through this whole 30 minutes. It was the worst 30 minutes of my life, y'all. Because to listen to this, because I was hurting because she was hurting. And then I said, okay, find 3 scriptures on beauty, and we're going to break it down. And we're going to talk about it. So I was able to talk about the practical things, but take the spirituality, because that's our faith, and say, what is God saying about you? The word of God is a mirror. What is this mirror? When you look into God's word, what is God's word saying about you? I don't see enough parents doing that. Honestly, I don't. I don't see them taking them back to basics, saying, okay, it's okay that you feel like this, because those are your feelings. Feel your feels. But then what is God saying?
Mm-hmm.
God said that you are worth dying for.
Mm.
That you're fearfully and wonderfully made. And if you were the only person on this earth, he would still have. Now we have this whole conversation, and my heart is freaking like breaking. And I'm like, do you realize how exotic looking you are? How beautiful? Baby, it didn't matter. She's like, well, you, my mother, you supposed to tell me that. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Like, it's hard. Let me read this comment, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
CJ says, think of it. Imagine you having no voice as a child. Not to say your parents were disrespectful towards you. They were. But let's say you feel like that, that they were out of line. They were. Imagine you're finally starting to pay bills. You have your own kids and somebody calls you a name you've never appreciated. Now, all of those feelings are going to come back in one emotion. And depending on the situation, it could be very explosive. I can definitely speak from personal experience. I can totally relate to you on that.
Me too.
I understand.
But the work on yourself has to be done. That's what happens when your personal work is not done.
Right.
Even being as old as I am, I'm still working. I'm still dealing with my own trauma. I'm still working through that. And you have to work on yourself. We need to stop blaming. At what point, at 25, at 26, at 27, or we're going to stop blaming our parents for our trauma? They are at the source of a lot of our trauma. But
Right.
at what point are we going to take our life back? Not saying that you're responsible for what your parents did, but you have to say, you know what? I'm in control of my life now. I know she did that. I know she wrong. I know she needs to deal with her stuff. I need to deal with my stuff. I need to deal so I can get myself in a better place. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not.
I agree, Felicia, and it's imperative that you do that so that you don't pass that on to the other people, whether it's your children or other young adults that you encounter. You don't want to continue to pass that on.
Right.
No, you don't. And like now, like CJ, you have a little boy. He's such a cute son.
Oh.
And you can do things so much differently than what he's done to you.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity to raise your kid like brand new slates. And yes, is there things from your past? Yes, but if you don't deal with it, you're gonna be the same daddy or mama or whatever that was done to you.
Right.
No, the thing too of giving your child a voice is to be prepared to hear things that you do not want to hear.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
I mean, because I tell my kids, if you feel any type of way that I said something 2, 3, 5 years ago, you have the platform to tell me. And I'm not going to even try to explain myself. All I'm going to do is apologize. Because to be honest, a lot of the time when my kids are growing up, I was not present. I was here, but I wasn't present. If you understand. Because I'm dealing with my own shit, not realizing, but because I thought I'm here, but I missed a lot of things, right? Because that's how I coped with trauma. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when they tell me things, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. I'm like, but if you said I did it, then
Okay.
I probably did.
Right.
But I don't make excuses. And that's the thing. We need to be honest with ourselves so that we can be honest with our children, so they can heal, so they can be better parents than us, so that they can start like a whole new thing. The idea is for the generation to get better and better and better, not regress and go backwards.
Exactly.
And like, did I tell you my mom was there? She said, I want to have a conversation with Layla before she goes off to college. I said, by yourself? She said, yes. I said, no. Maybe, no. It's going to be me, you, and I told Layla, me, you, and Granny. Because, baby, I'm listening to you the bullshit so I can shut that down. And she was very surface because she knows her daughter. What we're not going to do, ma'am.
Yeah, and that's another thing, Rabia, is protecting our kids. Because if somebody comes and spews out something negative about my child, and that's an adult, I'm gonna let them know, no, we're not doing that. She can have 4 pieces of cake and be 300 pounds, but we're not fist to do. We're not. I'm not gonna allow you to make my child feel some kind of way. And that's where the adult, the parent, comes in with those relatives that want to do. Oh, you didn't got big. Oh, you didn't got this. We're not doing that. And that's me with my healed trauma. I'm trying to prevent them from having more trauma on top of what they probably already have. So it's like you said, we have to stop that cycle.
And I think it's really important. That's why it's so important to let kids have a voice, because with that voice comes acceptance. The very that everybody is searching and craving. All the social media, all the I want to be like this and I want to have that, and that's all wanting acceptance.
Right.
So you can't have acceptance for whoever you are in whatever state you are at home. You're going to always be searching for it and craving for it. And that's like these people doing the things that they're doing on these TikToks and all of this stuff for attention because they want acceptance.
Exactly.
I agree.
And it starts with self-acceptance. That like in my healing journey, that was major for me. When I accepted myself, I didn't give a shit about anybody else. Because I was like, oh my God, I kind of like me. I like my personality. I like my you're not that bad, but I had to accept that.
Right. Yeah.
Because I felt like I was going to. We have more comments.
Yeah.
I was going to like ruin my children, and they were going to be, girl. I was like, what? They're going to be just fine. CJ says, honestly, after you get to a certain age, your parents aren't going to think they did anything wrong. They never do. But anyway, and honestly, look for the apology, because if they didn't apologize then, they're probably not going to apologize now. They're not. I'm a big believer on sometimes you have to make people feel what you're going through in order for them to see how you see things. Some people collect emotional immaturity, but I would definitely tell everybody I'm not emotionally immature man at this point. I wish some.
Probably extra.
Okay. Keisha says, I will tell my family my babies are gaining weight because God is still in the blessing business. Hey, and they're not missing meals. What's wrong with y'all? Why are you so skinny? I love it.
That's beautiful.
My family can't stand me. I don't give a fuck. I feel you. Because you ain't gonna tell my baby they're fat. Susan said, call it. Yeah, because let me tell you, because I'm my mother. So I was a thickum growing up, right? From the age of 11, I was on diet pills. No one said, let me see why is she overweight. Oh, she was being molested. Oh, but no one said, let's find the root to it, right? So I gained weight. So when my mother came, she was like, I won't mention the kid's name. She's like, oh, she's gained weight. I said, don't you dare tell my baby that. That's what they do. They'll say, oh, you gain weight, but then Africans will try to feed you. What do we do? Like, I mean, oh, why are you not eating? Well, you just called me fat, sis. Why would I want to eat in front of you?
Right.
What is that? But
Right.
that's what they do. And they
Yeah.
talk real, but they call it love. I'm being honest with you. No, be honest with you and go look in the mirror and talk about yourself. I mean, shit.
Mhm.
Right.
Girl, ooh, it gets me fired up. I don't like that because my mother is the queen of talking about weight.
Mhm.
I mean, but that's what they do. Like with all my sisters, I was always the thickest one, and they were all small and skinny. And they would say, "Oh, Robin's so pretty, but damn, she's fat. Why you so fat, girl?" My,
Wow.
guess what I would do? I'll fight you. You called who fat?
That part.
And then my mother was the person that counseled people, so I get everybody's business. Baby, talk about me.
I'll tell it out.
No.
I was not the one.
You will
And
not spill the tea on everybody.
no, but this is why I would do it. I will come to you and whisper in your ear and tell you I'm gonna fuck your life up if you don't leave me alone. And then tell them what I overheard when my mama was doing counseling.
Oh wow, Robbie, you
Yeah,
were something else.
no, because it was crazy.
Yeah.
Like you have to fight at home. You don't feel. Then you must fight at school. No, I'm tired of fighting.
Yep.
Teacher has a question. Can somebody answer this question for me? Why is it we have to be mature? I feel like it would. If you want to forgive the person, that's fine. But if you want to be a total jackass because they've been a jackass to you at a certain point of your life, then at a certain point, that's what it is. I'm gonna tell you, CJ, from my perspective, when I gotta be mean and an asshole to somebody, I gotta take myself to a place that I used to be, and that takes too much work for me to maintain anger. I used to be angry. Do I get angry? Yes. But to maintain that level of anger that I was at, I have to literally sit there and remind myself what an asshole you were to maintain that, to even continue the energy. And no human being is worth me going backwards. So, no, I will be the mature person because I'm going to be better than them. And
Well,
I
and
will
the,
be better. I'm
yeah,
not doing it.
agree. And the other thing about forgiveness, it's not an invitation. You can forgive people and not allow them into your life. You can forgive them, not allow their stuff to
Right.
impact your life.
Right. Yeah, nobody's saying sit around here and be bullied. You know, if you know you got an auntie that talks to you crazy, stay away from her. Why am I gonna, like, I'm like, Robbie, why am I gonna backtrack for you? Why am I gonna let what you say, if I know that things that you say to me impact me, or it's a form of control. It's like I have self-control. I'm not gonna let what you say, how you feel, what you going through impact me, make me have a bad day, make me depressed again, make me sad again. It's a form of control, of really self-control.
It is.
Stay away from people like that. People that disrespect you, hurt you, make you feel some kind of way. I just say avoid them. Not avoid, but just don't let them in your space.
Hey, Annie, how you doing?
No one said that forgiveness is reconnection. I don't have to be.
No.
I've forgiven many people, but I'm not fucking with you. So
Right. Right.
no, I'm not dealing with you. And
Right.
sitting here in unforgiveness because I'm not going to help behind your ass. I'm not. But at the same time, I know that I can't allow you in my space. Am I going to be cordial? Yes. Am I going to greet you? Yes. But you're not going to kiki and we're not. We are not.
No. And I think that's what people don't understand. Oh yeah, you want to go off, but I can cuss my auntie out, because let me tell you, I know about childhood trauma. I got crazy family members like everybody else. But why am I going to continue that energy with her? I already know she crazy. So I'm not even supposed to even deal with that. I'm not going to, matter of fact, she in the living room, I'm in the dining room. She in the kitchen, I'm in the living room. I'm not going to even deal with that. And it's not the avoidance. It's just like, I don't even want that energy.
Hey, you're living in my psyche, in my girl, bye. I'm not even worried about you. But Keisha is cray. Robbie, you gotta let her know. Right. Baby, I will you up. Make no error, B. Oh, and a girl, I can tell you stories. Oh, and a B knows no gender.
A B knows no gender. We going over with Robbie.
Yeah, we need to wrap it up. CJ says I may be petty, Grace, because I'm not gonna lie. Imagine energy with energy. Call me the radical, but I'm a firm believer. No one's gonna stop until you finally put your feet down and stop letting ninjas know this ain't it. When you get to our age, honey, you'll see. You're still a youngin' right now. It does not. I had a sister-in-law when I was in South Africa. I called her ass to the corner. I told her, "You'll think I'm gone soft. You'll think Rabia is dead. She's still in here. I choose not to use this. But honey, what you need to do is control that bald spot you got right here." I gave her ass. You want to talk about, oh, you look like a man because your hair's short, but you got a bald spot though. What you think about that?
Rabia, miss.
No, but that's all I had for her. I told her, "Now I would embarrass you, sis. Leave me alone." Because I'm the Christian in our family. My family's Muslim. So when I go around them, you want to be slick. Like, I'll let it go to a point. But when you talk about my children, baby. And I told her, I said, the only reason why I'm not cussing your ass out is because you're married to my brother. But if you were someone on the streets, I will remind you what my reputation was. And I left her alone. My mom came and said, "What's going on over here?" My mother, even though we have the relationship we do, if she sees someone coming for me, she's going to come. Baby, she came with that walking stick. Wait, ma'am, you can't do anything. Oh my God. There's 2 more comments and then we got to wrap this up.
Okay.
CJ says, "Shit, Felicia." I would have had to square up with your auntie, real talk. Felicia, next time you go to the family reunion, go ahead and square up with her. But you know what? They're not even worth it, y'all. I'm telling you, it's not even worth it. But sometimes, yes, sometimes you got to whisper in their ear and tell them, you got to remind them now, don't get it twisted now. Because we can go there if we want to, but I don't have the energy for it. Like, I'm old now. Baby, I don't care.
But I think people that talk like that, they got a deeper pain and a deeper hurt. And this is just me. And that's kind of how I'm able to just overlook them, because they got trauma that I don't know about. And if it makes you feel better to try to make me feel some kind of way, you got problems. You got serious, major problems, because some people do that as a deflection of what's going on in their life. Oh, I'm going to talk about how big she is, but I'm not going to talk about this divorce. And usually, if you pay attention, people that do that got a lot of other shit going on. But they using that to deflect from what they got going. Because, I got to deal with this and that. And, my son in jail, my daughter homeless and on drugs, she home. And they got a whole bunch of other stuff going on. But that's just like a deflection. I don't buy it.
Your weight.
You say what?
I said, but they worried about your weight.
Right.
Right. Baby, I'm eating good. Don't worry about this. Go on now.
Yeah.
Go on. Yeah. And family can be the worst.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
CJ, we can talk about this later because I would love to help and just because it's not worth it, I promise.
Yeah.
And you when you're older. And yes, you can still put people in their place, but you don't have to carry that energy.
Right.
They're robbing you, and you ain't gonna rob me.
Girl, because you see these shows, I'm gonna say this one last thing. Well, these people lost 200 pounds, and now I want this person from high school to see me, and the person from high school is like, so?
And I don't even
you still ugly? You still fat?
I know. No,
I mean, that's why I'm like, it's not even worth it, because the other person don't even care. They don't even care.
Nothing. What about when you're in a relationship and then you'll break up? And then you're like, well, he didn't want me because I was fat. And then you lose weight and then he still don't want you. Girl, shut up. Go and work on yourself. It's not about the weight. Whether you're fat or skinny or whatever, it don't even matter. Because you're still hurting like when you were. Because that weight, shit. Girl, anyway, I could go on. But guys, we want to thank you for listening. Tamika, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Tamika.
And we would love to have you again if you would agree to come on. We just love your energy. We love your energy. So thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And out there, thank you for listening. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Wrong one. Bye.